Hello everybody, welcome back to Let's Play Hearts of Iron 4 Kaiserreich as the legislation cities. Let us continue on from last that's off. So, Belgium has gone syndicalist, and as such, we have kicked them off of the council because, of course, why would we want them in the council at all? They are not going to trust our free market cities. They can get the hell out. So, we're still trying to get some Japanese influence into the country. Jackery has been elected as President of the United States, so unsurprisingly, they're losing some influence in the city. American influence is shrinking, change of their parties going up by 0.3, so they're losing quite a bit of influence. And in a few months' time, once the Civil War actually breaks out, we should be in an okay spot. Norway should go to Third International. That's fine. How's everybody else looking? Forced abdication. Sweden also. Finland's also gone syndicalist. Will Sweden follow suit? Potentially. It's actually going to put Germany in a bit of an awkward situation. They might get a little bit surrounded. But we shall see. Yeah, Chinese influence is pretty low. We're going to be arresting this man in 3 more days. They're not going to lose too much support. China, I should say. Okay, so he's been arrested. You can't convict him because I think we only have like 2 pieces of evidence right now. Maybe we'll probably get some more pop-ups. Try to do some more investigations. Hopefully Japan will help us out in that regard. And we still gotta get rid of the Black Monday penalties as well. It's the only way to get rid of Black Monday to actually expand the shipping lanes. Okay, modify that a little bit. I mean, I don't see anywhere else where it actually completely gets rid of Black Monday. Okay, so we got 9 more days until we can invest in our railroads. Oh no, you also modify it, okay. As well as you. So these 3 actually all modify. We probably need all 3 to actually get rid of the penalties. But if we can avoid taking out loans from more people, I mean, we've already taken a loan from the British, so we might as well get a loan from the Germans. I mean, it's only like 0.83, and the Germans already don't have like that much influence in the country. They're at 10%. So who cares what they think, right? Yeah, so Japanese influence is no longer growing. The Brits are still going to be getting a little bit more, but only for like another few weeks. So you need to actually take out the loan to even expand these facilities. So might as well go for this one first. Like, we're already below average though. Like, we don't actually don't do this. Cancel. Let's go for the second loan first. To me, that makes most amount of sense. Take a loan, get hit, as opposed to getting hit a second time and then getting a loan to try to replace that. The Italian government has fallen. I mean, they've gone a national populist, right? No, they're actually just authoritarian democratic. American influence has stopped shrinking for now, but we will see. The All-Cuban Union is about to be crushed by the Russians, so the Russians are actually doing pretty well. And British influence is no longer growing, so everything's going to be kind of at a standstill. The Brits and the Japanese have about the same amount of influence, with America leading slightly. We're going to go for some early mobilization. Because I don't think anything else really matters. Getting an infantry equipment dude would be nice as well. Because we're still pretty early on. And we haven't actually upgraded the second rifle, so I mean, if we were bankrupt, we would just automatically bypass the focus. I wonder what that means. I wonder what happens if you actually just go completely bankrupt. Maybe it leads to one of these other factions taking over. I'm not too sure. Or maybe even one of like the syndicalist factions, but or all the cities go independent, or they all join China. That's not what I'm here to find out, though. So Russia's anti-document union. President Reed's actions have destabilized the cities. Market liberal will go down even more. A little bit of political power as well, but that's fine. So now the Americans only barely have control right now. Their influence has dropped to like 16%. Actually, almost 20%, I think, since the beginning of the campaign. So which one do they go here? Do they do the reforms, or do they fight the longest? I'm not too sure. Unless he's actually not inaugurated yet. I think there's still a few more days until he's actually sworn into office. So Nanjing Clique still fighting a two-front war. And now you're at war with these guys. War between Hu and the Buddhist. So you're going to be fighting a two-front war against Tibet. You usually lose that war normally, but you've got a decent amount of troops, so you might actually have a chance to win. We got 20 more days until our loan goes through. I don't know if there's anything I can do to increase party popularity at the current moment, unless I can replace these guys. Cannot be changed at all. Okay, so never mind. When do you change? I'm not too sure. Sweden has joined the Reichspakt. Okay, so that means that the Syndicalists were overthrown. Or like they tried to overthrow the monarchy and they said no. Yes, we're going for this one right now. Did we get a bonus to 50%? We did. So definitely use that as soon as one of these other two attacks are finished. Getting a higher cap, because right now we're only making 6 rifles a day. So we got about 100 days until we have enough rifles for everybody. We don't need any motorized divisions for now. But I would like more military factories, please. How long until even one of our factories are done being built? Forever, because we have no factories assigned. Which is probably a problem. So we'll get the loan from you. Subsidizing rail might not be a bad idea. Standardizing rates? Or do we invest in one of these? Okay, so you require all of these. You only require expanding shipping lanes, so this one's actually more important because it's going to get 2 for free. So subsidize the British company here. Get the next 2 upgrades, which is going to reduce our Black Monday penalties. Everything seems good. Cairo Congress. They're wanting to fight against Iran. Not against Iran, against the Ottomans. Iran has gone socialist. Egypt and Saudi Arabia. They normally join the war anyways. Our place on the world stage. Have you actually... Okay, so you're almost certainly going to join up with the Internationale. That might actually give the Internationale a fighting chance. Just having this extra little bit of border that... Like, these 2 provinces will not actually have any forts in it. Never mind, I'm completely wrong. This one has 0. This one has 2. But it's definitely shrinking the front line substantially in favor of the French. So, no. Like, I wish in our campaign as Union of Britain that Belgium went in our favor, but no. You can't win them all, unfortunately, even though I really wish you could. And you're still missing about 150 rifles. Serbia's crowned Alexander II. Like, General MacArthur assumes control over the United States. Shocking news comes to the United States. Market liberals get even more penalties here. So yeah, so not only with 18% influence. The Japanese... Actually, technically Britain has the most right now, 24%. which is not great. Standoff in America. 6 to 12, 7 to 12, 10 to 23. Will Canada start seizing some territory? We will see as well. Not too sure. They don't always do it, but they probably will this time, if I had to take a guess. So somehow the Americans still have any influence in the country at all. I have no idea how they're able to do that. Almost when the United States gets annexed, because MacArthur always loses the war. You know, we will see. 21 days on this, 50-50, and then we gotta cooperate with Arnold and Carlsberg. Unless you only need 2 to actually get rid of the penalty entirely. Which might be the case. I would like a new status quo though, please. It's like, what do you do? So, gateway to the east. We definitely don't want to compromise neutrality. No, we wanted to sideline the Westerners. Manchu troops in defending government gets a lot of support. Do I just give them territory? The occupation of Tianjin. The fate of Zhang Zolong. Remove the Germans, occupy the neutral zone. Do some war industries, and then we'll allow decisions to align ourselves with global factions. I'm fine with abandoning all sense of neutrality. Because at some point we're probably going to aid the Japanese in taking over all of China. You know, getting a nice little slice for ourselves. I'm fine being a Japanese puppet state. That is no problem to me. Definitely not going to be back into British though. That's insanity. Like, how would he even support the United States? It's just Anglo-American rule. Definitely do not want to support the Germans. Germany's only all the way in Europe. Japan's right outside my doorstep. I think it's like a pretty obvious who I'd want it back in this case. The Second American Civil War has begun. Conflict has arisen. Well, all over subsidizing some company. Philippines and the CSA signed a peace deal. We'll expand the shipping lanes. Try to get some of the penalties off of us. Why do they only get a truce with the CSA? I'm not too sure. So the Second American Civil War. As many as anticipated since the crisis of American politics began, the United States has fallen into civil war yet again. The stability goes down, political power goes down. Gets event official reactions to the Second American Civil War. If the American voting rights are removed, it's likely that the new High Commissioner will then be elected a Chancellor. Who would it even replace them with? Maybe... Wait, no, Canada already has a vote, right? No, they don't. I'm surprised by that. It might give it to the Canadians, then. Like, to me, that makes the most amount of sense. Since America is hardly able to protect its Chinese concessions, and since we don't know what the true America is, many are questioning whether to alter America's legal status within the legislation cities. Well, first we're going to determine the next High Commissioner. The 50% chance... Okay, I'm going to save and reload a bunch of times. Just in case, because it seems like there's a 50-50 chance that either the Japanese or I assume the British will. Because they're about even in the... Okay, apparently I cannot move this. Unless it just gives me... Oh, okay, fine. Fantastic. The political future of the legislation cities. The only change in leadership in the legislative council's short history has been in the replacement of Sterling Fenston, the show's successor, Nelson Johnson. Then, in the heyday of the cities in 1932, there was no doubt in any ambassador's mind that the continued American presence was needed and a transfer of power was smooth. Now, however, the American Civil War raging, the American China Marines withdrawing from Shanghai, and the chaos in China and chaos, things are different. With the invocation of Article 14, High Commissioner Johnson has chosen to step down temporarily in order to ensure a fair vote. The council then unanimously voted in Erwin von Zach the Austro-Hungarian delegate as a temporary high commissioner, and politicking began. The Germans and Japanese delegations, each with receiving constant communications from the government instructing them to secure the post of high commissioner, argued constantly that their opposite number in America were both incapable of protecting the consular powers' interest in the Far East, and that the only nation could succeed to help their peace. Though the American ambassador at the critical time... Okay, anyway, blah, 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 blah. The Japanese are in a better Asia. So we have put in the China agency. Seems good to me. I'm still trying to remove some of these Black Monday focuses, though. So we got the Bull Creek era tank. That means we're going to immediately switch over to getting improved machine tools. Concentrated industry, let's just go for construction speed after that. I think that makes sense. We can recognize an American government. Is there a reason to recognize an American government? I don't think so. Again, surprisingly the Canadians... Oh, don't. Surprisingly the Canadians did not seize any territory. Probably giving CSA a pretty big advantage so they can take territory up here. Yeah, no, everything seems to be going pretty smoothly. Japan has announced their ambitions. But for a new status quo, gateway to the east. Okay, well that bypass automatically once we're done a new status quo. I mean, I do kind of want to sideline the Westerners immediately. 28 days here. Okay. I mean, we're probably still have quite a while before we're really ready to engage in military conflict outside of China, seeing as we have 3 divisions and no navy to speak of. But we have like 500 convoys, which is pretty good. Is there a way that I can basically just like recognize no government? I'm curious. Can I just say I recognize nobody? Unsurprising, we're not giving any vote to the CSA. As the United States falls into anarchy, their status within cities is left without. Everybody gets observer status. Americans have now been just completely removed from the council. But they still have 12% influence. So good for them. So what happens here? Entente advisors. Yeah, they're fighting for America. But nothing else. Okay, so there's no other bonuses for them being observer statuses. I'm assuming it means they don't get a vote or anything like that. And there's only 3 voting members of the council at all. Japan, Austria, and Germany. 2 German powers and 1 of the Japanese. But Japan loves us. And we love them. Member of the Legislative Council, plus 60. Is America mad that they're no longer a member? No. We have a similar ideology, though, so good for us. But MacArthur is definitely dead, I believe. Like, there's no way I think he's coming back from that. But we've done it. We've trained 2 more divisions. It's not much, but it is something. So we got about 1 more week until these shipping lanes have been expanded. How bad is Black Monday affecting us? It's a negative 50% construction speed, negative 25 factory output. I mean, this is actually cutting everything basically in half. So we might not actually need to do all 3. 2 of them might be enough for us to make do. Baltic War legitimately does not affect anything I'm ever going to do in this campaign. Nanjing was actually annexed. I'm actually amazed. It didn't seem like they were actually doing that well. Okay, and the Spanish Civil War has also begun. But again, Spain does not affect us at all either. Okay, so we do need all 5 to all 3, I should say, to completely remove the penalty. We've already cut everything in half, basically. So getting all 3 is not going to make a huge difference. We don't need tanks. Start producing convoys of our own, because apparently I don't actually have a Navy research, which seems like a pretty bad idea, seeing as we legitimately only have a bunch of cities on the coast. You think you might want some sort of Navy with that, but... I mean, there's something around here, right, for like a, the legislation's Navy? Yes, down here. But that is going to take a while. That's like almost an entire year worth of focuses. So we're not going to worry about that. Dutch elections. If the Dutch also go syndicalist, which I highly doubt they will, they have like no percentage to do it. It would be interesting, because that would make Germany have a very, very long front line. But again, I don't think it's going to be happening. Unless one of you guys do something, but I don't think that's the case. Russia and the Soviets really have just had a pretty stagnant front line for now. How many men do you have? 14 to 25, 9 to 19, 5 to 15. I could theoretically justify a war goal, but I don't know if that's really worth the effort to do so. And I don't think we would win. 5 against 13 probably is not in our favor, I would say. Is there any way I can upgrade these guys as well? I could. Skirmisher guider planes. Camouflage expert? You know what? That seems pretty good. I see. How about you? Promotion cost, planning speed. You're not very good at all, so I don't even know why we took you in, but... I think I'm going to go for an offensive doctrine here. And Washington's already fallen. Not a huge surprise that they've kind of eaten shit. MacArthur. You're not very good at your whole job, I would say. So we still need steel. Unsurprisingly, we're not going to be able to get that from the United States. Let's get that. What about like a neighbor? Yeah, let's just trade with a neighbor of ours. Shaodong, you like me well enough, but you're now at war with the left KMT. But I think the numbers are kind of in your favor, so hopefully everything goes fine. Royal visit to Hong Kong today. The HMS Sussex arrived in Hong Kong from Halifax with a royal. Why would you go leave from Halifax? Anyways, sure. The British have shown up. I mean, they're 26%, so they got a little bit more influence out of that, but not enough, I think, to really change the tide of anything. But I do think that this is going to be a good time to end this episode. So thanks everybody for watching. My name is Anthem. If you enjoyed, thumbs up. Not to thumb down. You want to see more, subscribe, and goodbye.